So success is what you try to make of it, and failure is what you try to drown in. And whenever it's very easy to say that I'm successful, but let's not forget we all will have a consistent failure in our life.
Namaste. Friends, welcome to the Let's Talk Show. Let's Talk Show brings lot of value in your understanding, knowledge and overall wisdom. Friends, we bring industry experts, entrepreneurs and the people, those who have gone through really struggle time, and the lot of inspiration you can get from this show and the talk what these people are doing on Let's Talk Show. I would request you to please subscribe to the channel to get all the notification of all the upcoming videos. In today's Let's Talk Show, we have a very special guest, Sweety Rath. She is in the global role, Vice President Human Resource. So let's learn from Sweety about her journey, about human resource and about lot of wisdom what she wanted to share through this Let's Talk Show. Please keep watching all the upcoming shows on Let's Talk Show. Thank you so much.
You could fail as being a great partner because sometimes you just don't understand. You're not at an emotional quotient level of your partner. But that does not make you a failure elsewhere. You might be great at something else. The problem is you try to focus on something that you think others are looking at. So I have this is something I have discovered in my journey. I'm pretty sure there are so many TED Talks and so many interesting motivational videos about it. But I've always looked at these historic pillars of success or failure, from Edison to J.K. Rowling to Walt Disney, Steve Jobs and all of that. Bring pace in your activity. That means run with speed. What happens is you fail and you fail fast, but you do a lot of things. So what happens is it's the amount of possibilities just double up for you. So I always tell people who are starting out their career, women who are starting to come into corporate or non-corporate or non-profitable situation, don't idolize people, idolize strategies. See what are the failure strategies people have applied. Nobody goes into a strategy thinking it's a failure strategy, but their strategies fail. So I call them as failure strategies. Try to move quickly. When you move quickly, you are not in haste. Don't confuse quick with haste. Haste is being irresponsible. But moving quickly is trying to try multiple things at a short span of time. Our parents' generation might just say that jack of all trades, master of none. I beg to differ on that. I would basically say that when you're jack of all trades, you're able to figure out what you specialize with. In the game of basketball, you always have strikes, and when your 3 strikes are out, I go to my work every single day and I get 3 strikes, but I try not to repeat them the next day. So every day 3 new strikes. So you're making 3 new mistakes, 3 new failures, so you're getting 3 new opportunities. Do not tag people with success and failure, because today who's at the top is always going to come down at the bottom. Change your perspective. That bottom is where you should be at that point in time. But you've just realized and made it like a forbidden land, and hence you are starting to judge. I mean, this is something that we've seen, right? I mean, the Thomas Edison story is I love that. Like, how many times he failed before he invented the light bulb? I think 100, some 800 around that number. And yet, I mean, he just kept experimenting. J.K. Rowling, I don't have to say that. I mean, the whole world buzzed about that. And this is a quote I'll leave with Walt Disney, because I'm a huge Mickey Mouse fan and a huge Disney fan. All the adversity I had in my life, all the troubles I had in my life strengthened me. You may not realize when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing the world does for you.
Beautifully said. Um, whenever I conduct a session, especially for the leaders, I tell them how much you are looking for the kind of appreciation from your boss. If your boss comes to you, Sweetie, you are doing wonderful job, you are doing awesome job, keep it up, and I believe you have huge, scope of for your career in this organization. Keep it up. Good work you are doing. Sweetie is absolutely 100 out of 100 in the level of energy, emotions, and everything. The moment other day, maybe because may not be a fault of Sweetie or Pankaj, somebody comes and tells, hey, what is this? I'm not getting these updates on time. You're not doing good. And let me tell you, you need to work upon this. And if this happens early in the morning at the first hour of the day when you're about to begin the day, and that's the way your energy level is out, is moving out. You are feeling that what has happened, I am doing 100 good things, but one thing, if it is things in improvement or something, somebody is noticing this. So and this may be your husband, this may be your wife, this may be your family member, this may be your friend. So I always tell people that don't give this key of happiness in the hands of others. If somebody comes and appreciates you, okay. If somebody comes and show you your area of improvement or something where you're not good at, that's also okay. You know about yourself. So what you said, that we are looking for social recognition, we are looking for the workplace recognition and like this, right? So that's what things in making, shaping, and looking for the next one. So keep improving, keep on working on something. That's the path to be continued. Now, Sweetie, coming to the next important thing, our world of wonderful world of human resource and HR. Right. Share something, where most of the HR professionals fails to partnering the business. They are doing their job, they are maintaining their MIS, they are maintaining their, the talent retention, talent acquisition, everything. What is the real meaning of partnering the business, and how HR can really partner the business and showcase and show them that we are not away from the business, we are into the business?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's a question that is so customizable to every business, because see, HR, we have to look at the stages how HR has been outlined, the HR model has been outlined. HR used to be treated as a service center. From there, so what is a service center? It is like payroll management, leave management, time management, and all of that. From there, HR moved into Center of Excellence, COE. You would have heard that. Many of us would have heard that, would have worked for it, where you say that, okay, we have a compensation and benefit COE, performance management, learning COE, where you're trying to basically say that they are centers or kind of curated departments within the company where you can go and take your problem and get a solution. Then the most evolved stage comes in, which is business partner. Now, business partner operates from two directions. There is an advisory direction, and then there is a consulting direction. Or rather, I would say there is a practitioner and a consultant. What is a practitioner? Where most, I would say 85-90% of HR business partners sit. They take an activity and they practice that activity just like how doctors practice. You go through performance management cycle, you go through compensation, you go through retention discussion, you check on all the boxes of an employment life cycle. What happens during that is you make, as an HR fraternity makes themselves an important OPD specialist. So if I have a little bit of a fever, cough and cold, yes, I'll go there. They're not surgeons, they don't have blood on their hand. So what happens is those doctors are important, but nobody goes to those doctors in a time of an emergency and a crisis, where actually doctors are called saviors of humankind. And this is a very controversial way of putting it, but I would call it how I see it. So HR business partnering, from partnering when it goes to consulting, it's a very interesting journey and a very mature journey. Because what as consultants you are doing is you are basically being a subject matter expert and advising the business at three layers. at a strategic level, at a tactical level, and then coming and executing that. So when I say strategic level, you are basically talking to the heads of the businesses, heads of the departments, and saying that, hey, this is how your organizational structure will be, hence this is how the organizational behavior will be, and what is your fiscal responsibility. The last part is very important. If you want to stay very close to the business, you can't stay away from where the money comes to business. So as a HR business partner, you need to first and foremost understand what is the strategic level you're operating. Then come to the tactical level. Tactical level is like getting into a ring and arm to arm wrestling, which is taking that framework and applying it, trying to do course corrections, trying to say, oh, I did this compensation planning, I did these salary ranges, but you know what? My attrition is not coming down. I'm still not able to attract the best people. What is the money that I need? Again, you're staying close to the money. And finally, you know, you might have a great strategy, you might have a great style of, execution, but none of that happens when your execution is not perfect, right? I mean, the famous quote about strategy eating for breakfast, right? The fact about how you're executing that is where uh, the biggest risk lies in this journey. And I think HR business partners are failing, and I would call it, in many areas where they're spending a lot of time in the tactical hand to hand fisting as opposed to trying to execute. So, if you want to stay as a true HR business partner, the first and foremost thing that you need to do is stay close to the money. See how you are impacting the company's revenues by people, process, and technology. You cannot say that I'm a good HR person because I can talk to people. Many can talk to people. That does not make you a good HR person. I'm a great person for HR because I come from a technical background and I can work in a high tech industry because I understand engineers. Even the technical managers understand engineers. That does not matter. Like we have helpers around our lives who may not have the best of the education, even they use the best of the smartphone. So everybody is close to technology. What needs to be a transformational approach that HR has to bring in is trying to make people the fulcrum of process and technology. So make a process, adapt technology, and very importantly, be a consultant to a business. If you are constantly just operating as a practitioner, one, you fail to inspire others. Second, you don't take any risks. And third, and the most important thing is you don't understand numbers. So when you don't understand numbers, when a CPO cannot talk to a CFO, CPO is a chief people officer, when he cannot talk to a CFO with numbers, there is no partnership existing in business. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I think this is what I've been coaching, trying in my own job, trying with my own HR global team. That stay close to the number, be tech savvy, believe that technology is there to improve effectiveness and productivity.
Yeah,
Technology is not there to make it look fancy.
great. Wonderful. Sweetie shared, you are into the global HR role and helping your organization and maybe, some other people also. When it comes to the HR people, certain resources which people need to once you are getting qualified from XLRI, IIM, or maybe TIS or whatever the renowned institutions. After that, what? So some resources or maybe something which will be helping them to keep them in the show to make them understand about the what things are changing and evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, I think HR has to go through a major and is going through a major transformation. Look at the advancements that is happening in AI in aiding the HR managers specifically in recruiting talent, and the complexity around the wide talent pool across industries, geographies, how we are able to do a AI based comprehensive employee skill set matching. I think as people are coming out from the most coveted B schools, uh, the exploration has to come in a space where you are applying technology and you are applying employee engagement through the lens of doing like purposeful work, right? I'll give you an example. When we are working through employee wellness and engagement, there is so much that is happening in the NLP area and the AI advancement, where people are talking about how natural language processing is sharing data about employee engagement and employee wellness, and that is checking different levels of activity for a healthy employee behavior, because we are basically then talking about high productivity and high results and great addition to business. So when we have people coming out from the best of the institutes, or for that matter, deciding to make a career, doesn't matter where they are graduating from, but deciding to make a career in human resources, I think we need to have that holistic approach of how you can use innovative technology to engage and improve productivity. See, performance management has been there from God knows, hundreds of years, trying to basically adapt from a bell curve to continuous feedback to scatter plot to categorizing people into different needs of their 9 blockers and so on and so forth. All that technology and framework is fine, but at the end of the day, the key is real time feedback. You don't like something, you could not do something. How can technology help us to be doing it right now, right at that moment? I mean, look at the ability that we have for personal selections in life. That's why OTT platforms are way more better than anything else. But at the same time, how are we allowing our employees to have something like our managers and employees have something like an OTT platform? They can have selection, they can have drag and drop on what are the resources they need to fill up their goals. Do they have the right kind of administrative tasks, which does not take time, but they are achieving their KRAs, their goal completion, their range of abilities and capabilities are developing? I think as HR professionals, our we should be like we should be like those you go to job fairs or you go to a world multi cuisine restaurant, right? You can just like in your plate you can have spaghetti and then you can have dal makhni, both in your plate, because you what that need is catering is to every kind of taste bud. I think that is where you are allowing people as employees to explore what are the resources that are available for me to do my job better. Now, Indian subcontinent and Indian market is very different from a very young market. It's very different from a technology exposure from the rest of the world because of the ability of the talent pool that we have. So therefore, the HR professionals in this side of the pond have much more larger population sample size to play with. So I think my request, my wish list for all these amazing new HR crowd coming out from all the various graduate schools in the country should look at how they can, one, inspire people to do a meaningful and a purposeful work. Second, make take the task, take the activity, break it down into easy bite size, because our attention span is coming down by the day. We agree, we disagree, it's a fact. So take
Yeah.
it and break it into smaller things so that you can accept more. And third and most important thing, move fast.
Great. See the how the shorts are getting popular on YouTube and the Instagram, the reels. The 1 minute small bite-sized learning. Um, Now, very interesting question, Sweetie. There are two type of HRs. One is me being a head of HR or maybe in the role of any HR head or CHR or whatever we can call. I always go with the business. Whatever business say, my job is to yes sir, okay, yes, 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 and always yes. And in this yes, I do not know how my people, my own team members are suffering, whether this yes is actually should be, told as a yes or something else. And there are certain, the another group of people, those who says no to the, the business leaders. And they says, no, this is not okay. We can't do this, but rather we can have this. So at the same time, that courage of, understanding situation and the nuances of the business, what would you like to say to, the our great leaders, especially the HR leaders?
Well, this is a question that I would basically try to answer it in a nuanced way. There are different. It's a layered answer. Uh, See, yes and no is very situational, and it's a typical HR answer, right? People will give, oh, it depends on this and that. There are some absolute no's, and I think I don't have to dwell a lot on it. There are some absolute no's when it comes to conduct, when it comes to work ethics, a way of doing business. Um, I mean, the recent newspaper article about the bribery and corruption charges on the TCS professionals has been a real sham that for us to kind of stand up at. Even these things happen today. We may cringe our nose on it, but the fact is it
Yeah.
does. So there are certain things that goes down to the path of the basics in life, which is integrity, which is a straight no. Now, when we've got the basics out of the way, like they call all the athletes, and you go to any sporting habit, they will say, be brilliant at the basics. Don't do some fancy, exercises and all. You just have to, like, walk, run, move, be brilliant at basics. Once you get through that, as a human resource professional, for a very long time, we've been a social butterfly. And what exactly is that? You are basically moving from one table to the other, from one room to the other. You're trying to give that shoulder to a discussion without actually value adding and contributing. So, in if you're in conversations like that, one, as a HR professional, be intrinsic about it. Is what? Why are you in that conversation? Are you one a stakeholder? Are you an influencer or an impactful person in that? Third, and the most important thing, can you change the decision if you're in that conversation? If not, turn away from that conversation. Because what you are basically trying to help is be assertive about your stance. You don't have to always do it with a yes or no. It's also about the contribution that you bring onto the table. The next thing that I would always say is there are so many, HBR articles and Forbes articles and whatnot about how to say no at a workplace and all. And we all can just Google and read about it. I'm not going to bore the audience with it. But I'll tell what I have practiced always. Your yes and no depends on your research and how much data your research is backed on. When you're going to business leaders, go with numbers, because one of the things about numbers is they don't lie, just like the camera. Second, you have predictability. So if somebody is expecting you to do something, you can clearly draw a line why and how the expectation is building. Now, the third one is a little controversial one. Sometimes you got to do something because you are in a business. Most of us work for private limited companies. Most of us work for possibly listed companies, but not in a government setup. So we try to do a lot of upward management. I mean, like I said, I'm going to say things which could be controversial, but we try to do upward management because at the end of the day, HR professionals are representatives of the management on the ground. That is why you have access to privileged information. You are a messenger to management decisions. You are custodian of the policies. And finally, you are guardian to the company's behavior and culture. So sometimes, just like how our parents are, they exactly know what they're saying, but they don't give out all the facts when we are growing up because we are not at that mental state. As a custodian of the company's management policies, you could be in a catch-22 situations of for to be or not to be. But that is slowly changing. And my request to the fraternity will be is communicate and be honest about your communication. The moment you lose honesty from your communication, you are actually underestimating the person you are communicating, because you are basically thinking that he or she is a fool. And in the process, you're making a fool of yourself because you're assuming that. So it's like
Mm.
making an ass of you and me with the assume. Um, Saying a no is not a representation or um, you know a projection of your personality as a professional or human being. It is basically trying to say what you stand up for. What is important is how you say the no. The no has to be away from feelings, but based on facts. The no has to be decisive through well done research, rather than this has been done in a certain way, so it will be done in a certain way. And
Yeah.
finally, the no is not to challenge anybody or to confront. The no is to address the situation or the question. So, HR is such a, what do you call, a blurred entity of business, that you exactly don't know sometimes that you're drawing a line on people, or you're drawing a line on money, or you're drawing a line on business, and you have to take decisions which are very note, but still do it with empathy. I mean, I have to fire somebody from their job, but I'll do it with empathy and respect. No matter how I do it, it's a very, very difficult decision for the person on the receiving end.
Mm.
So HR people are definitely exposed to that kind of a pressure. So I don't want to
Yeah.
take a giving some high lofty sounding statements that it is easy, you should just say what is no. No, it is not. Sometimes you're in a situation where you you know that you're having a very, very conflicting conversation, and that conversation can just drive you into a legal exposure. So how
Mm.
an HR professional, and that is where the power of communication comes in, is being
Yeah.
honest, data backed, and result oriented, and you've done your research. Don't go
Yeah.
unprepared, because people can see through you.
Wonderful. I see that the message coming out from your communication is HR need to be vulnerable at the same time confident, right? And if you are able to maintain this thin line and this the differentiation together, that's what which may lead to be a confident helping business partnering HR. I feel, Sweety, that the time is constant here, and especially only for HR perspective. This 70% communication goes to other side of which is most of covering the part of the emotional for any individual to be very helpful. We will catch up in some more podcast, right? And be ready for some time, maybe in the future, in coming months we will catch up again. Thank you so much for all the learnings, experiences, what you shared. And I am sure that this is the real value shared on this platform.
I appreciate, Pankaj. Thanks for all the patience listening, and great questions, always very engaging. I know we plan for something and something else kind of translates, but that's the beauty of conversation, because it just kind of strikes the right note. And I really wish you all the best in whatever you are trying to achieve. I listen to all your podcasts and the short bites that you bring up. So all the best, and you're a very positive soul, so your positive vibes do come through even on a Zoom or a Teams call. So thank you
Yeah.
for inviting me, and have a great weekend.